Okay. Today is, oh God, it's a weird day. You can just feel this weird energy. I don't even know if you can see out the window. It probably just looks like a lot of white. It's totally just snow everywhere. It is, you'll hear it start crashing down. It starts sliding down the roof. This is a little cabin, and the roofs are like this, and it sounds like something's running across the roof. It's very eerie, and then you'll see this big thing like an avalanche fall. And so I keep on thinking, oh, it's the little trolls and dwarfs of the forest clearing the roof for me. It's very eerie. You have to give it a positive energy. Anyways, I've had so many things. Sometimes it just is. Sometimes it'll feel like you're just in like this kind of relaxed state. You don't really have a lot coming in. It's like, okay, shouldn't I be doing something? And I'll just constantly get the message, you need to rest, relax, take a day off, of just everything, and then try and watch something or whatever, and it's giving you the same messages. Like they're constantly giving you messages. And then other days it's just like, so much information that just keeps coming in. And, I know that kind of the way I see it, the way in my head, how it is the way that my understanding or my comprehension of the universe, because it's all basically how we comprehend what is coming into us, and our comprehension is based on our consciousness, our awareness, our experience, that's part of the cycle, why people, incarnate. It is the game of life. And so, in my understanding of how things work is, when you're outside of your body, you still are yourself, which I've already talked about that experience when I came out of my body by accident. And when you look back and you see your body laying there, you realize I'm still me. I don't feel any different. But yet that body's just laying over there. How's that work? I'm still thinking. I don't need a brain to think. I'm still me. I still feel like I look like myself. So, what is that body? And to me, that body is a part of being able to be in this kind of dimension or realm, to have these kind of experiences that have to do with emotion and, the senses of feeling and touching, and you can't have the same sensations if you're not in a body. So it's a kind of a rudiment, you know the word. No, oh God, I can't say that. Rudimentary. Well, I can't stop and look it up how to say it, but I can hear it in my head. But it's a kind of basic foundation or something. So anyways, so when you are, incarnating, you're coming for the experiences, you're coming for the lessons that you're going to learn. And, you pick your own experiences. You're not forced into this life. It feels like it once you get here because you can't remember anything. And then we are fighting against this manipulation of our minds, our bodies, our souls, everything. They're manipulating it all. And, you have to overcome so much but all of the overcoming is also the experience. And all experiences create growth, create change. So, you can't shame any experience. And that is one thing, just like, about smoking weed. There's lots of people who still think like, oh, that's shameful. You shouldn't. It's illegal. It's bad for you. It just makes you crazy. It makes you high. It makes you stupid and all this kind of propaganda stuff that we've been told, that I believed it as well. But then I started seeing it so much different. Is like, how many things do we, that the earth is giving us for our experience, whether to relieve some aches and pains, or relieve pressures, or, just to connect with this other side of ourselves. So anyways, I try not to judge those things anymore. I try and be aware of the judgment that's put into the indoctrination and stuff. And so I try not to, because I think it's all in balance. Just like yesterday when I said, about the drinking, and people are going to find that, they've got a lot of liver damage and stuff. Like, I know I've smoked way more just sitting here. And then when you smoke, it's your brain just leaves this space and it can easily go somewhere else. It takes the leash off, kind of. And so it's just much more relaxing for this redundant day after day, Groundhog Day of quarantine. And so there's so much noises outside with all of the, it's just eerie feeling. I don't know. The energy is just weird. It's crazy because across the whole nation, everything is frozen except for Florida. In Florida, they're down there partying. Everywhere else, we're just, I don't know, very stagnant. And cold, freezing. So anyways, so when you come in and you don't really remember what it is you're doing, and things feel heavy and they feel hard, and why would you pick to lose a child, stuff like that. Hold on. Okay, so look, I swear, not doing this in and out. Oh, it's just this in and out. Okay. So, people, it doesn't make sense to them. Why? Why would I choose that? I would never choose that. So, but, when you're on a soul level, you're not in the experience level. You're not in the where I'm going to feel the pain. It is a lot easier to choose your experiences for the things you want to grow, because it's what you're going to get. The benefit from going through the experience is what you want, because that is what expands you. That is what raises your vibration, raises your awareness. It takes you into new levels with each experience. So people outside of the body, when they're not remembering how horrible it feels to go through some experiences, they think like, oh yeah, I'll do that, no problem. Like, I think when we're outside of a body, we think we're real badasses. And then we get in and it's like, oh, why would I choose this? This is horrible. How long is this gonna last? So, there's a lot of, I think when we start getting more teachings of really what the experience is about, then I think it's gonna raise a lot of the heaviness of life. When people can get into the idea, this is a temporary fun thing. I'm playing a part. I'm being this. I'm creating this version of this facet of self. So, it can be a fun experience, or it can be a heavy, drudgery, painful. It all depends on your awareness and your connection to what is. And so when you're in a body, I think it depends on at what point, at what vibration you come into that body. Because it's not just like, oh, you're a new soul and you're in a body, go have fun. That was one thing in that cartoon Soul that I thought was good, where they stuck that soul in the old man's body, and it was a new soul. It didn't even know how to make the body work or anything, because it didn't go through the process of being a little baby and being born and having to learn all of those things. because no matter what type of vessel or vehicle or avatar that you're in your experience, you have to, you have to be born. You have to have a beginning stage. You have to have an entryway into that to become a part of it, if that makes sense. I know it makes sense to some people, but that's the thing, when we're all on different levels, not everybody understands the same things. So if stuff I say just makes no sense to you, then it's probably not for you. I'll just sound like a crazy babbling lunatic. You may as well just go find somebody who is talking to you on what your understanding is. Whether or not your understanding changes through your process, that's part of your journey. But at this time, if I just sound, crazy, then there would be somebody else who would you would resonate with. But there is people who understand things on this level. So when you are outside of your body, you don't necessarily have to leave. There's not like, oh, get to heaven. You're dead. You better be in heaven, or you've made a mistake, I think that there's a huge draw, and my idea of heaven is kind of like a meeting place, a place of unity, a place where a lot of souls are together on a certain level that bring harmony, that it's a place where decisions are made and rules and stuff that are on a much higher vibration. I mean, it's more encompassing than, the rules of man, say. There's rules far beyond. Man's not the only living creature. That's the rules we set for ourselves. So anyways, so when you're outside of your body, many souls will stay near because of the connection to the people who are still there. They can be bound by grief. They can be bound by unfinished, their own guilt. There's a lot of things that can bind a spirit to the other people or things that are still there. We hear about spirits that are bound for well beyond, that are just feel trapped. That energy is trapped. It was very, it was a sudden death. A lot of the crossing over, because we're not prepared for, we're not told the truth ever. So at the time of death, a lot of people, there's people who think, oh, I'm never going to wake up. I'm going to die and that's it. I'm gone. And when all of a sudden they're still alive, but they're not in their body, they become super confused. That can last a long time, because remember, there is no time and space. And that was one of the benefits of when I got my brain injury, was to lose that concept of time and space, because it gives you a completely different perspective of existence when you change your when you can be in one reality and you're seeing it in another way. It changes what that reality is for you. So I've said it so many times, how there's so many people living in these alternate realities right here, right now on this planet. And it's very difficult when you're talking to some of them, because they're very caught up in the three-dimensional reality, and that we all, know that reality is a manipulated reality. You can't even find yourself. You're told who and what you are by control and mechanism. They do it in their programming, in their indoctrination. They're very good at it. But it's been going on for so long. So, and they've gotten better and better. They've figured out more and more ways of how to control. Their whole thing has always been about control. And, mind control people is, I think it is kind of like the Matrix. Like, they would like to go further than that. Just, they want to take our soul and completely control it without us knowing it. And they've been doing it. pretty well. So anyways, I went off again. So when you're dead and, you, depending on your own understanding when you die of what's happening, a lot of people who have a slow death and, people, nurses and stuff who have been at a bedside of a dying person knows that they are going in and out. They're talking to people in the room that aren't there. They're talking to angels. They're talking to children. They're talking to all these people. And they're completely in two places at once. And so as they're processing, their death is going to be a lot more gentle. But there's a lot of people, where they're driving to work and suddenly they're not in their body anymore. And they have no idea what happened. They need to get home. They've still got to get to work. They have things at the cleaners. I mean, what are they going to do? That's the thing, is you are you outside of your body. That's just something that people really need to get in their head. There is no change of who you are outside of your body. And, I think we have a lot more abilities and skills than we can even have any understanding of, because we can merge with other souls, and it's not like what we imagine it to be. There can be a sharing of energy and stuff. We can be more than more than just who I am. There's other aspects of myself that are out there, embodied in other bodies. So, when you go to that level, you can merge, yet still have identity, if that makes sense. And so when you're alive, you kind of have, where we say our guides and stuff, we have a whole team that's behind us. And they're there talking to us. They're giving us signs and messages and guidance. They're all communicated in different ways. And it's your own awareness that you give them of how well they can get their messages across to you, what they're guiding you to do. And, a lot of them, they have a lot riding on it too, because it's the energy, it's this karmic cycles, it's the changes. And when they can guide, like, I know my grandpa is one of mine. And when I had talked to a medium, when my dad had died, and my dad died, and he had a slow death, basically 20 years, but he was alcoholic, a lot of issues. He hurt a lot of people, didn't apologize, died in that kind of energy, and angry and bitter and holding on to things. And I think a lot of alcoholics, they drink because it's their own abuse of their own selves. Oh, which I was gonna say, so to me about the alcohol, about everything, is finding balance in everything. And if you can't find balance, if you know you have a problem and you can't drink because you're just gonna go out of control and just drink, a half a gallon of alcohol if you get started, then know yourself and know you shouldn't be drinking. But to me, we shouldn't just be like, I'm not having, I'm gonna not have this is bad, and stuff like that, because that's judging other gifts from God. I mean, they're all a creation of, I just think that a lot of this good and bad is our own ideas of what is good and bad. Because what is good and bad? It's different for everybody. So how can it be a set thing? And so how can we say what is good and bad? Who's good and bad? I mean, there's no one person who can. It's all, finding balance and everything. But I keep skipping around. So when I talked to that medium about my dad, she was saying that, she was freaked out. She didn't know about my dad. So when he came in, she was freaked out, and she was like, he's in this place. It's like a dark room, which gave me the thought of purgatory. he's in this dark room and he's isolated. He's not allowed to be around, like he's in an isolation where he has like a timeout or something. Like he has to figure stuff out. And she said it was really giving her the creeps to even tune into his energy. He was mad and he was bitter and angry. You kind of imagine like energy being put into place and it's just having like a temper tantrum fit. Like it didn't go the way I wanted and it should have been, and that's part of conscious awareness is how do I affect others? What am I doing? What is my legacy? What am I bringing to the table? What am I putting out there? And being conscious of how you affect others. That's a huge part of growth, and having compassion for others in the experience. And you may not be going through this experience at this time, but to know that, they're making the best choices they can to get through whatever they're going through, and to not sit and judge them. So when she was done talking, tuning into him, I was like, because I something had happened, and I may have talked about this before, but something in my life had happened, and my dad had just died. And so I thought, is my dad, is he on the other side now and he's manipulating the situation? And so when she talked to him, she was like, no, he's very isolated. He's like in a timeout kind of thing. And so I said, okay, well, while you're here, how about let's talk to my grandparents? And that was really exciting, and that was really fun. And but when she talked to my grandpa, she got a lot of information, and he is one of my guides, and he was on the other side. He goes into wherever this is that my dad is being held, and he goes in and works with him and stuff. So see, and that goes back with that thing I said about Hitler and his dad, right? Is that a parent has a responsibility too for, like, if I did something to my kids and it affected their kids, and then their kids did something with that thing that I did, like say, I beat my kids and never would listen to them or whatever, and that just to continue this pattern, this cycle, it kept affecting people. Even, my great-grandchild ended up killing somebody because he never learned how to control his temper or speak about emotions or whatever the thing may be. Well, that affects us all. It doesn't just affect this one thing, because we all have this connection. We are all connected, and we're all trying to make change and create change together. So, my grandpa is working with my dad, and I don't know all of the stuff about it. I just know that he was going in there to talk to him and stuff, but he was the one who had his hands in my stuff that was going on, that I had no idea. There's a lot of times like I could smell my grandparent around, or he would come into my mind or something like that. But then when you start learning, well, okay, so he's in there, then you start learning about our lineage, our ancestry, and our connections. And we're not just connected to our own ancestry, we're connected to everyone else's, because we've all reincarnated in these different, genealogical lines, where it's a web of connection. And so whatever the cycles are that we have going, when they cross over to the other side, you have a moment of introspection to look out, to see how you affected things and not have to feel the emotions. You look it out and you see, and you understand it on a different level. And I think it's the huge drive to feel, I know I can do better, is a huge drive of why people come back and come back and come back. But so once you see, and you still have, grandkids or whoever alive on the planet, then you're going to do what you can from the other side to help them break the patterns, because you don't want that to keep affecting. So a lot of your guides and stuff, you have ancestors and stuff that And it could be somebody you never met. I mean, I knew my grandpa, but I mean, I know that I have some old Indian woman who's always talking to me. I know I have some Chinese lady who's always talking to me, you know, and I don't know all the connections from all the way out. You know, I don't know my connection to these different souls and what they're trying to help me break or where they're giving me guidance. You know, there's just a lot. You have a team of people, and and the more you connect with your own self, which we call it our higher self, but it's coming into connection with self, and being able to see from a higher self, of looking from a higher perspective. Don't be caught up in the little uh, the little created environment or whatever. Be above it, look down, see the bigger picture, see how things are working and stuff. And you know, connecting with your higher self, it's definitely, it's a process. It's not like you can just go, oh well, I'm just gonna, because it has to do with trust and balance, and finding balance in yourself, understanding the planet, understanding nature, understanding the connection of all things, understanding the energy, that the purpose. So anyways, it's when you're on that journey, it's like a study. Like, you know, I'm going to go to college and I'm going to study to become a brain surgeon, you know. And I'm going to go for years and years and years. Well, that's like the same thing. If you come into a life and you're driven to spiritual teachings, you know, you're here for that purpose, to expand and grow spiritually, to share what you have understanding of. So the other ones that are also in that same class, that we're sharing ideas. And which, by the way, there's a lot of stuff that I'll talk about, and it's not because I heard someone talk about it. It's because they're telling me stuff to talk about, and they're telling me things. And I always find it interesting. Then after, you know, I'll be talking about something, then they'll bring me the information of someone else talking about it. I'll be like, oh my gosh, you're saying the same thing. See, I'm not a crazy person. This person is seeing the exact same things that I'm seeing. They understand things on the same level I understand them. And, you know, I always enjoy that when they show me that. And, you know, it's always gives you confirmation, because there is a lot of times when you're talking about concepts and things that people don't understand and don't talk about, and you've been told you're crazy your whole life because you see things that people don't see, then, you know, it's easy to get caught and be thinking, okay, well, I'm probably just a crazy person. I'm just going to sit here and just talk crazy. And, you know, I don't know, maybe my legacy will be weird memes. I don't know. But then you hear other people talking, and it's like, okay, these other people are seeing it too. The same things as I'm seeing. This is, you know, this is what this is about. And there's a lot of people right now here who are looking for this spiritual thing inside themselves. They either have a spark that just keeps trying to light, or it's just blown out and they just feel empty. And, you know, they've got to, it's got to be ignited. They've got to, you know, find their tribe, find people of like minds, and be able to talk about things and create things. And, you know, that's the huge movement that we're going through. And a lot of people want to have a deeper understanding. A lot of people are sick of the shallow control, the tyranny, the lies, the deception, the corruption. You know, they just want to get back to living life and experiencing and having fun and enjoying family, enjoying friends, traveling. So, and another thing too, like when you are connecting with your mind, body, soul thing, you know, connecting to higher ways of thinking and stuff, which, you know, you can do all that working on like chakras and stuff. in yoga. Yoga is super good. Used yin yoga. I had fallen a couple of years ago and was really slick, and I was pushing something and it slipped, and when I fell, it was a giant trash can, and when I fell, I slammed my head, and I went into the trash can and slammed my head and split open, and so I had to go get that fixed and stuff. And I didn't even realize for a couple days how bad my hip was hurting, and it just got worse and worse and worse. And it got to the point where I was becoming stiff, kind of like what I imagine, like, when someone's trigger finger, or there's another one too that happens in their shoulder, and it just freezes. So it was doing that in my hip, and it was really uncomfortable. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't live like this, and I'm not getting a hip replacement. So I started doing yin yoga for hips, and I'm totally limber now. There's so many ways that we can do this stuff ourselves. You go to the doctor, they run you through a million tests, and then they send you to people to exercise and stuff. There's a lot of, we survived a long time on this planet without all the bullshit, really. So I didn't go get scans and all this stuff and go do their physical therapy and everything. I just did it myself with the yin yoga. And so mostly for me, for exercise and stuff, I'll do like yoga, and I'll do some like weight exercises, turn on music. Dancing is great. You can even do weights in your hands while you dance. And then you can, another one I do, and I've just made it up, but I think it is kind of like Taekwondo or something, some kind of thing like that. And when you start doing the yoga, then you start just realizing like your body naturally starts doing these things, and holding, going into these weird like kung fu stretches, and then holding the balance, and breathing and connecting with mind, body, spirit. I think there's so much of just listening to your internal self and creating movement and connection. And, for me also with the food, I've talked about it before, this whole thing about them coming up with times that we need to eat, giving us our food pyramid, what we need to eat, when we need to eat it, then selling us the food, and then putting poisons on the food. And that's what we need, though. And then any of the stuff where people started going, oh, you got to get healthy, you got to get fit, you got to take care of yourself. Then it became the diet culture. Okay, well, then we're going to, muddy that up, and, get all these crazy people who just need to be ultra skinny because they're being sold that as, the perfect woman, as artificially created little girl. It's not even a normal body. But anyways, the whole thing to me is stop listening to any of the bullshit. Don't listen to the times or what you need to eat and stuff. Tune into your body. Your body will tell you all the stuff you need to know. Your body will tell you when you're sick. Your body will tell you when you're tired. Your body will tell you when you need to go to the bathroom. Your body will tell you when you're thirsty. Your body will tell you what it's hungry for. What it's hungry for is usually what it needs. You can have cravings for something, but if you were having like a craving, you're like, oh, gotta have sugar or something, there could be something in your diet that's creating that, like look at your diet, look at it as its fuel. You can't put unleaded, or you can't put leaded oil or leaded gas in a car. You can't put just plain gas in things when you have to have the oil and the gas mixed. Everything has a certain thing that it runs on, and you've got to get it in your head how much everything has been created on lies. So tuning into your body is where you're going to find it. And for me, in a day, I get up, and I get up pretty early. but I don't eat for a few hours unless I'm really hungry. If I'm hungry when I first get up, then I will eat. But, that may happen like once every month or once every 6 weeks where I get up and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm starving to death. And it's probably based on whatever I ate the night before, that energy just was used up. Because your body is using energy all the time to keep itself going. And so after a few hours, I got the engine going, right? It's kind of warmed up, it's ready. And, and then having some food of whatever, I tune into what it is my body wants. I don't just think like what it has to have, listen to what it wants. And then, then throughout the day, I may eat some more snacks. It just depends on like, if I'm hungry. I don't have a set thing. Like, you have to do this. You have to eat because it's this time. You have to eat this because doctors recommend it. None of that stuff. None of it. And so then later in the later afternoon, I will, sometimes if I'm just like starving, like, and say it's 2:00, we'll push it, to like 4:00, and then I'll eat dinner. But I will also create a meal, like make it a real meal, like create something. It's fun to create meals and to try new things and stuff. And, it's treating yourself well to cook for yourself like you would cook for a stranger on a first date, say. Treat yourself as well as that. And so then after I eat that, every once in a while I will want something else later, one good thing is really good is if you take frozen bananas, and you can put a little bit of honey too, and chocolate powder and peanut butter and a little bit of milk or something. It turns it into like a chocolate ice cream. It's very good. And so, maybe but usually for sweets too, it will be like a couple bites or something, like I'll have a couple bites of something and then it feels satisfied. Like, but then, I like to bake. So if I bake a cake, maybe I'll just have a big old piece of pie for dinner or a piece of cake or something like that. Depends on what I'm cooking. And, I go by what it is that I want, or what I'm craving or something like that. And then I won't eat until the next day. So then I saw where they were calling that intermittent fasting or something, if you limit your hours of day to eat. And then I had also seen about some doctors talking about how important it is to limit hours for your eating in the morning and in the evening, because in the evening your body has to have time before it goes to sleep to burn some of the stuff off. So, even if you're skinny and you are, eating this big giant dinner and then going to bed, it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, in the sense of, if you can be skinny and still not be healthy. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who are really skinny aren't healthy. And, I've had times in my life where I was super, super skinny, and that's when you have all these people telling you how great you look. That's how messed up our society is. You can be so sick, and you got people telling you how great you look because you're skinny. But, in their perception, I looked great. They wish they could be that skinny. But on the inside, my body was like, you are sick. You need to change something. And, for me, I've made a lot of changes, over the past, I would say, 10 years. Huge. Well, if I got my brain injury in 2009, I started having huge changes since 2009. I just didn't really realize what all the changes were leading to, kind of. It was like, you're making changes all the time, because there's a lot to get through when you have a life-changing incident that happens. Everything changes in your life. So you have that all going for a while. And then in order to survive some of the things, you have to find resilience, and it's all stuff that you have to find inside yourself. Then when your body is just becomes sick, you know, you have to, and all you have is doctors who just say, here, take another pill, and you know that they're poisoning you and killing you. You know, you can't just keep going and listening to them. You have to take control. You have to be your own advocate. You have to take care of yourself. You have to, you know, this whole thing with this sickness going around, you know. And yesterday, one of my kids was really upset, and she said that it was on Twitter, and that there's a little girl who had been in a bicycle accident. She had a helmet on and everything, but you know, that all the EEGs were showing that she was no brain function. And, you know, how can this be? How can this be? And I was like, well, it doesn't matter if you have on a helmet. It doesn't matter if you have on your seatbelt. It doesn't matter if you think that this is going to help. You can't hide from death. Death is going to come when it's supposed to come. It doesn't come early. It doesn't come late. It comes right when it's supposed to come every time, and you can't hide from it. So doing all this and, you know, hiding in bubbles and stuff, you are letting fears control your life. That's not how it's meant to be. And you know, I mean, it's a false, I can't think of the words. It's always frustrating when I can't. Sometimes I'm sure I just say the wrong words and I hear them in my head a different way. But anyways, it's a false sense of safety, you know, because this doesn't matter. It's not going to save you. I mean, it's making people sicker. Now there's so many dentists that are saying that so many people are coming in with these horrible infections in their mouth. It's all this bacteria. That's what I swear I knew some of the stuff before I went to nursing school. So, you know, I'm not sure, you know, they just don't teach things. To me, in school, when my kids were bringing home work, it all sounded way harder. I thought, oh my gosh, the work is getting so much harder. Kids are getting so much smarter. But, see, did you hear it? It's creepy sounding. Sounds sometimes like Bigfoot's running across the roof. But anyways, it's all false reality that's making people sicker. It's, you know, it holds in moisture. Moisture creates bacteria. Bacteria is, that's what you don't want to have, is bacteria. That's the problems with antibacterial soaps and stuff like that. It's not killing the bacteria. It's making your immune system weaker to fight the bacteria. So the getting these infections and stuff in your mouth, you know, if you're an old person and you've been taking antibiotics and stuff all your life, and they put you on antibiotics, well, that antibiotic won't work. Then that antibiotic won't work. Well, that one won't either. Okay, well, you're going to have to get admitted. Then you're going to have IV antibiotics. Well, that one won't work. Well, that one won't work. You know, that's what kills a lot of old people. I mean, that's just facts. I've worked in the hospital. I've seen them die. So you have to work on your own immunity. You have to work on being strong in yourself. And being strong in yourself isn't just, you know, going to the gym and working your body to exhaustion. That's not being healthy. Being healthy is being connected, mind, body, spirit, taking care of self. You know, that's where you're going to find the completion, the feeling like, oh, you know, I feel like I'm doing things right, is when you get those things connected, whatever that means to you. And, you know, it's important to stop listening to what everyone's telling you and tune into yourself and find out who's talking to you, who's out there guiding you and stuff. you know, if you can't hear them, grow your hair out. You'll be able to hear them much better. Okay, well, Stella's back. So, anyways, hopefully somebody gets something out of that. You know, I really do look forward to the time when start connecting with people who, you know, they understand things on this same level, and they're trying to, you know, spread the message, or understand things, or just not feel crazy. So anyways, have a great day.